so much.
You know, Dave, we're here at the Yak Gear Workbench, and it's time to talk about rigs and techniques, and I'm just asking you, like, what are we doing?
Well, exactly. Well, you know, I called them worms because we went fishing down there in Port Mansfield with Mason Magic.
Yes.
I guess that's how you say his name.
Mason.
He's a guide, Mason. And he said, yeah, what kind of worms we using? And I'm going, what are you talking about, worms? And he goes, well, that's what we call all soft baits. They're all worms.
Plastics.
So that's what we're talking about, using saltwater plastics. And, you know, they're very versatile. They come in a tremendous variety of actions and colors, and they mimic bait fish and crustaceans. So you can just use them to do a whole lot of different things, and that's what makes them so great. You know, you can use them weedless or on a jig with an exposed hook.
All right, so let's pick out.
All right, we got some, you know, got some paddle tails here, and we got, you know, we've got some with exposed hooks and not exposed hooks, and with weighted and non-weighted. The paddle tails, you know, one thing you got to remember when you're using a paddle tail thing is to keep that thing moving. Keep that tail moving, because that's what it's there for. It gets a lot more bites if you keep that tail moving all the time, and that's, you know, that's what you want to do if you're using a paddle tail. You can also put them on a popping cork with a jig head. This one has a fish bites on it.
Fish bite shrimp with the eagle claw boxer jig head.
Right, and this is great because you got the look of a shrimp, and you got the popping sound from the cork. And because it's a fish bites, once they get close to that thing, they're going to want to eat it.
So let me tell you a new trick, Dave. It's really important, guys, when you tie on at the bottom of the clacker bobber, tie that tight to the swivel. You can see that tight.
Yeah.
Because you don't want that to, when you pop this, you want it to move. You don't want it to rotate around. Okay, that's my 2 cents.
Right. Also put a piece of mono at the front, too, so it doesn't get tangled up in there. The weighted versus weightless, you know, we've got some weighted ones here and the weightless. If you're using, if you're wanting the bait to land softly, you're going to want to go with a non-weighted hook set.
Correct.
Because, you know, you can scare away a redfish, or if you see a trout swimming and you drop a big weighted jig on them sometimes it'll scare them away, sometimes it won't. The weighted ones are for when you want to make a long cast. And if you're fishing in water that maybe has a lot of current or is a little deeper, that weighted jig or the weighted hook even will make the bait swim better, and it also keep it in the strike zone where you want it to be. It's kind of hard to get a non-weighted hook to sink, especially when you're using a bigger bait. You know, smaller baits, sometimes a big hook will make them sink a little better. You know, and you can choose your hooks that way as long as it'll fit in the body of the bait. It'll work. You know, you don't want it to get too.
Good point.
You don't want it to
get down. You got to have the hook exposed.
Right. And you got to remember. You also have to remember. You know, even with the best hooks and stuff, if you have a big bunch of bait in between the hook point and the bait itself, you can actually have a problem getting a good hook set on there sometimes.
Now, vibration types of jigs have become very popular.
Vibrating jigs are great, and putting a trailer on there, which really accentuates the action. It makes the action go all the way from the front of the bait all the way through to the back of the bait.
Right.
And you can use a big paddle tail on there as well. You know, these are the slobber knockers with the blade that's up into the head really hard, so it doesn't, you know, it doesn't come out. And you can also use a big, if you're offshore, you can use
cobias and your red snappers,
groupers. And whatnot. You can still use a jig and a big soft plastic curly tail, or a fish bites curly tail like these right here, these Fight Club 6-inch grubs.
Yep.
These are all great baits to use and will work just as good as live bait.
So Dave, I got one other trick for you, real quick. Sometimes a spoon, because a spoon is designed as a search lure, you throw it out and reel it back as fast as you can without it skipping on the surface.
Right.
But every once in a while, we get really fussy redfish because of pressure.
You want to slow them down.
So if you want to slow it down but not lose and create a different type of action, you can add a trailer, like this fish bites one, gives it smell.
Right.
But guys, instead of it ripping it through the water, now what happens is this wobbles and flashes, and then the tail.
Just like we used to use for bass with a pigtail on there.
150%.
Same exact notion there. So.
Man, Bree, we did not have enough time tonight.
No, we didn't.
Damn it.
There's never enough time, but I liked your little tidbit at the end there. That was good.